Right then, good evening once again to a Gaming Alamonda live broadcast of the Invictus Racing League, and we are here for round 3 of the F1 Equal Assists League around Suzuka in Japan. And we've got 16 runners tonight. Just quickly go through the story of the Drivers' Championship. We've had 2 rounds of the season so far, and UK-Tranquillity leads the way on 22 points after his second place in Spain and victory last week in Russia, with a 2-point gap to VeniVidiVici, who won the opening race in Spain and then got 8 points last week, and then Foxy Red, who finished second last week, he's on 18 points. So the top 3 in the championship are the only 3 drivers who have actually been on the podium so far this season. We've got Rossi on 13 points in 4th place, and Speed Queen with 7 points in 5th place, making up the top 5. And then in the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull lead the way on 25 points. He scored excellently in Spain. Then Mercedes on 22 points, McLaren on 18 points, Toro Rosso 14 points, and the Haas team on 13 points. And last week we saw Force India and the Williams boys scoring their first points of the season. So, Japan, iconic circuit. Throughout the years in real life Formula 1, seen some legendary moments here, such as the 2 times Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost collided, both of which title deciding moments. Michael Schumacher winning his first championship for Ferrari, Kimi Raikkonen's last lap overtake on Giancarlo Fisichella, and Ferrari bottling it last year with Vettel's car falling apart like a cheap used second-hand Peugeot. So this circuit characterised by the brilliance of Sector 1, which is also the most important sector on the track. The centre S's, it's so vital to get those correct. One mistake on part of that particular turn magnifies the mistake on the next part. So I'm going to have a look at a few people still in the pits. So with Tranquility, Foxy Red and Veni will certainly be the main contenders. Let's give Tactics a bit of airtime in the Mercedes, braking for turn 1 and back end sliding a little bit. And as I mentioned earlier, these S corners, get one wrong and the next part of it, the mistake just becomes even worse, very difficult to correct. If you do an excellent Sector 1, it really sets you up for the rest of your lap. And going up through the Dunlop curve, which is a lovely corner, and then the sharp braking for the Degner curves, very easy to cut on the first one and invalidate your lap. And then up to the hairpin, which could be an overtaking spot at certain times, especially when there's differences in tyres. In terms of the strategy today, it should be an easy one stop. There's not too many issues with tyre wear. It's quite a long pit stop time here, so I don't think anyone will try the 2-stop unless they get damaged. So around the spoon curve then, and then this marvellous run up the hill towards one of my favourite corners in Formula 1 proper, not just the games, 130R, which was named because that was the actual sort of diagonal of the corner, but it's not actually 130R specifically, as Foxy Red sets the early pace with a 128.636 and Tactics with a 130.404. So we will go away from the Mercedes. Where is UK Tranquility? He's on his flying lap at the moment. TamworthFox is as well. Craig coming out. So Foxy Red significantly faster. Delange, second man to go into the 20s at 129.591. Got 4 watching, Fax 4 watching. I hope you enjoy this upcoming race. So I want to see where we're at. Veni is slowing down, so he must have invalidated somewhere, I suspect, unless he's about to start his flying lap. He's going too slow to be doing a flying lap. So let's see then, Tranquility flying through 130R, trying to get his banker done. Everyone on the super softs, no one gone for a different strategy so far. 9/10 the gap between the top two, but I do suspect UK-Tranquillity will close it up a little bit, and he does indeed. But that's, wow, half a second away on his first run. So Foxy Red really setting the early pace, and Veni pits, so he must have invalidated his first run. So looking good for Foxy Red as we've got just over half the session to go. TamworthFox though has jumped up UK-Tranquillity, and 3/10 away though still from Foxy Red's current pole gaining time. So we saw some good speed from TamworthFox in Spain, but he was caught up in some incidents, so he's got something to prove today. Just want to see, where is Tamworth currently in the championship? He is... wow, so he's 19th in the championship, I believe. So he non-finished in Spain, and then he didn't race last week in Russia. Well, I thought he did. Probably wrong on that. So anyone else on a flying lap or nearing the end of one? Not Speed Queen, not 8 seconds down anyway. What about Nikki? 1.2 off the pace. Back into the pits. Yes. I think everyone's finished their first flying laps. Cookie was the only person who didn't go out straight away, and now he is out on his flying lap. Rossi's still in the pits, so he must have invalidated. So 4 people haven't set a time yet. And what about Craig? He was on a flying lap, so let's go on board with the Toro Rosso driver. Real veteran of F1 racing, this guy. As we head up to 130R. And this qualifying session going very quickly. Less than 5 minutes of the session already. Braking for the final chicane. In terms of Formula 1's history, one of the most famous chicanes. In many instances there he is, and Craig crosses the line and puts it up into 9th position, 1.4 off the pace, but in the top 10 at the moment. What about Cookie? Cookie's in Sector 1 at the moment, does a 32.286, that's a pretty decent Sector 1 from Cookie. Saw Cookie qualify very well in Russia last week, it didn't quite work out for him in the race, he finished outside the points. Yet to score any points this season as Cookie. But did show some promising pace in qualifying last week to suggest that he can certainly challenge for points today. As we head to Spoon Curve. One of my earliest Formula 1 memories was seeing Damon Hill spinning out that corner in 1995. And also the same day Michael Schumacher won his second World Championship. But it was a pretty dismal end to Damon's race that day. Brakes for the final chicane. What can Cookie do? Currently 14th with no time set, but I think this will be a fairly decent time, which will put him into, yes, 4 positions. So it looks like a solid lap from him. So just over 3 minutes, and most of the cars in the pits. So there's going to be a big group of cars coming out for their final runs. Might not be much space for them to set their flying laps. So maybe we'll see like a mixed up grid. At the moment, Veni in 16th place and last. So he's really got to do something, and that's why he's gone out early. So then Craig has retired from the session, so he's probably not enough time to get back out. I think that's probably why he's had to retire, but if he's dropped to 10th, but with the track evolution he's probably going to fall further. The problem Cookie has is that he left it so late to do his first run, he's not going to have enough time to get back to the pits and put on another set of tyres. So again, he could before the faster times of the drivers around him. Yellow's in Sector 1. Has anyone spun? Nope. So here is Veni then, setting up for his final flying lap. Although technically he does have time to do another one, assuming he gets the lap right. The race winner of Spain, and 3rd place in Russia last week. In a very eventful Russian Grand Prix that was. So then, Let's start then. You can brake pretty late for this first corner, and then up to the S-curves. Oh, runs wide. Oh, could have risked an invalidation there. Goes a little wide in the first S's, but he corrects it. Now, building up the revs and the speed as we go around the Dunlop curve towards the Degners, which I think is where he invalidated his first run. Oh, goes over the first one. And I think, yes, no invalidation this time. Yellow's in sector 2. There's a lot of traffic ahead. Hopefully they'll get out of the way. Because if they don't, yeah, gives him plenty of room. So good job, that Toro Rosso driver. So at the moment, Veni will be the first of the main protagonists to set off his final flying lap. And oh, Cookie, oh yeah, we saw him go back in the pit, so he's retired. So building up then to 130R, and then the final chicane, which again is an easier place to invalidate, so he's got to watch that. So through the final chicane he goes. Where is Veni going to be? He had one pole position earlier in the season. Will this be good enough for pole? And it's second only, but just under a tenth slower. So what about Tranquillity? He's in sector 1 at the moment, so he's going for it. And Foxy Red is heading towards 130R. Can he go even faster and seal this pole position? I wonder if Veni's going to go for another lap. We'll keep an eye on him. So Foxy Red, the McLaren driver, rounds the final corner. Heads towards the line. No, he pits. He must have invalidated. So his pole position could be vulnerable to the likes of UK-Tranquillity. He does a 32.355 in sector 1. Apollo moves up to 7th, and Veni has he's crashed. But maybe he invalidated and just gave up. But yeah, he's lost it coming out of the second Degners. And woof. Look how much Tamworth was pushing it around that corner, but we're going to switch back to Tranquillity because he's the closest of the top 4 heading to the line. So Tamworth's session is done. Was unable to improve his time. Tranquillity then crosses the line, and it's only 4th. So TamworthFox, perhaps the only person who can take away this pole position. Mike and Sheepy finished their sessions in 13th and 14th respectively. Rossi in 16th place. So he's not been able to set a single lap time, so he must have validated all his runs, or maybe he's doing something tactical. Just seeing if there's any... No, everyone's gone super soft, so no one's doing anything different in terms of the qualifying session. So Tamworth rounds the final corner. Can he snatch this pole position away from Foxy Red, or at least move up to the front row? He heads to the line, and he's done it at 1:28.518 by just over a tenth of a second. A fantastic lap from TamworthFox. But Foxy Red won't be too displeased with that, so that puts Tranquillity down to the 3rd row. Anyone else on the lap? Yes, the other Sauber of Apollo. And Hombo across the line doesn't improve. Tactics, he's not going to improve doing that, so I think the Sauber of Apollo is the last person who's going to set a lap in this qualifying position. And no, he peels into the pits, so we are done for qualifying here. But what a lap from TamworthFox, right at the death. But that's a really tight top 3, less than 2 tenths between the top 3, then a bit of a gap to the next 3 cars. So yeah, quite an exciting qualifying session there. And I've just been informed it's going to be a dry race, so it's not going to be any wet weather shenanigans, in theory anyway. And I think we're just waiting for the last few people to retire, and then we are done. And we'll just go through the qualifying results in a moment. So TamworthFox takes pole position for Sauber, Foxy Red in 2nd, Veni 3rd for Red Bull, joined by his fellow Dutchman Delange in Ferrari in 4th, Tranquillity in 5th, Speed Queen in 6th, Nicky in 7th, Cookie in 8th, Apollo in 9th, Humbo Stone in 10th, Tactics in 11th, Craig in 12th, 13th for Mike, Sheepy 14th, Notorious 15th, and Rossi A very surprising 16th place, so not a good session for the Haas team as well. They will make up the back of the grid. So we're just going to load up with a race. But yeah, it's a pretty good qualifying session. It's overcast though, so that might affect a few of the drivers if they've set up the car for softer tyres in terms of tyre temperatures. Very interested to see what they're going to be doing in terms of tyre strategy, and wow, it looks like everybody outside the top 10 except for Tactics. No, everybody outside the top 10 going onto the medium tyres. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. So those on the medium tyres are almost going to be in their own sort of second tier battle, at least at the start of the race. So if any of the medium runners can get far up the top 10, they're going to be in a great position later on when they make their one and only stop. Very tight turn one, of course, so we will hopefully everyone gets through okay. We have a formation lap to do first, so we'll confirm their tyres. Yeah, we get a nice formation lap first. So TamworthFox, top 10 of course, all starting on the super soft tyres, the tyres they qualified on. So we've got Tamworth in first, Foxy Red just behind. So we've got some really quick drivers all in the top 5, not forgetting Speed Queen as well, who's had good races so far, but she in some ways just needs a bit more luck, because I think she can definitely challenge for a podium if she gets a bit of luck for her once, based on the last 2 races. So let's quickly confirm the tyres for those outside the top 10. Rossi starts at the back of the grid after a pretty disappointing qualifying session. On the mediums, his teammate Notorious also on the mediums for Haas, and Sheepy is on the super softs. Softs for Mike, softs for Craig in 12th position, softs for Tactics. So yeah, it's always good to double check the tyres, because often what you see in the director is different to what you see on track, or vice versa. So we'll go back to the front. TamworthFox, excellent pole time, but can he convert it into a result? No points from the opening 2 races, although he didn't race the second one, of course. Sauber have only had 7 points so far this season, but both of their cars in the top 10, so they might be able to make some moves up the table. But just as a reminder, there's only 7 points between the top 3 teams in the Constructors' Championship, and they are Red Bull, Mercedes and McLaren. Toro Rosso has some work to do in 4th place. So Rossi, who made a really good start to the season in terms of some really solid points in the top 10 both races, 4th in the championship, he's got a lot of work to do, but watch out for him flying up through the order. So then, the grid forms up. And the grid forms up. Once again, I hope I get a better camera view than this. 5 red lights. And IRL round 3 is underway. Great start from TamworthFox. The Foxy Reds could be under a bit of pressure, but no, he settles in, and I think Tranquillity is moving up to 4th already. No, wait, something's happened to... I think, yes, yellow's in sector 1, and I think Tamworth's off the track. Yes, Tamworth off the track. Disaster for the Russia race winner. I saw him get tagged, or at least go off track, but he's fallen right to the back of the grid. And we got more contact at the back. There's 2 cars off for McLaren, Humbo, Nicky. 5-second stop and go penalty for Cookie. It's a chaotic start here at Suzuka. But Tamworth leads, Foxy 2nd, Veni 3rd, Delange 4th, Cookie 5th. Sheepy up to 6th already. What a start from him. 8 positions gained in less than half a lap. So that is an incredible start from him. Taking advantage of the chaos behind. Speed Queen in 7th, Tactics in 8th, Craig up to 9th, Notorious up to 10th from the back. Rossi's been unable to make a sort of similar start. Yellow's in sector 2, but yeah, one characteristic of this track, if you go off onto the gravel in the S's, it's almost impossible to get the car going quickly because you just have no grip on the tyres. But Tamworth with a 1.3 second advantage already to Foxy Red, who's under pressure from Veni. So this is going to be the early battle for second position, and oh, Foxy goes very deep and deep again, and that's going to massively compromise his traction coming out of the chicane. And I think Veni's going to make a move straight away as they go side by side down the pit lane straight. No DRS, don't forget, until lap 3, although better straight line speed, and Foxy keeps him ahead. And Apollo gets a 5-second stop and go, and there's 3 cars in the pits, so I'll just have a quick look what's going on there. I suspect this will be some wing changes. Yep, wing change for Apollo and Rossi and Speed Queen as well. Oh dear, Speed Queen. Well, I said she needed a change of luck, but that's not materialised here. So, and Humstone, he's damaged his wing as well, and he took him so long. And look, he's 48 seconds behind already. Oh dear. Well, the McLaren drivers race, absolute nightmare. I actually don't know if this league has the safety car on. I don't think it does, so well, if it doesn't, then well, I suppose you'll just have to keep going and hope something happens, but that is a massive compromising of his race. Tranquillity is currently in 11th place. Gonna have a quick look at him, see what he's up to. He's just passed Notorious for 10th position, and now he'll give chase to Mike. So let's have a quick look at the gaps between them, although there seems to be a lot of green arrows, so I can't actually see what the changes are. Tactics up to 7th, but yeah, massive mention again to that start by Sheepy. Gained 8 positions at the start, currently in 6th place and only 1.2 seconds behind Cookie. And speaking of Cookie, he's now going to put the Ferrari Delange under pressure. Delange goes defensive. Who's got the better straight line speed? Cookie might have to put this around the outside, Kimmy style. Oh, he backs off. Will he get the switch back? No, it's good braking from Delange actually to keep ahead. And meanwhile up ahead, Veni still putting the pressure on Foxy. The gaps stabilised to 1.5 seconds between the top 2 as well. Oh, and Cookie's lost it. I just switched to him. What happened there? I don't think he was near anybody, but he's just lost control of the car in the S's, and he's taken his wing off. Deary me. A lot of the big hitters struggling at the start. Tranquility moves up to 9th. Oh man, he's got to do nearly a whole lap with half a wing missing, but yeah, he just lost it. I don't think he was alongside Delange at that point, but I did only catch the end of the incident. So Notorious picks up a 3-second penalty, and that will 100% be for cutting one of the Degner curves, because I just caught him coming out of that section. So Cookie drops out of the points, and he's got to go all the way back to the pit lane for a pit stop. So let's go back to TamworthFox for a moment, who leads this race. He's now up to 1.6 second gap, so it looks like he's got the pace advantage over Foxy Red. And Foxy Red is not completely holding up Veni, because it's not like Veni's right on his gearbox, but he's sort of, Veni sort of traps in the dirty air. The fastest lap of the race so far, lap 4 already, this 27 lap race, it's flying by. DRS obviously activated on lap 3, and even with DRS, so Veni, oh, and Foxy runs wide though. Will that give Veni a chance to challenge? Not at the moment. Let's just follow them up this glorious S-curve section of Suzuka, one of the best sections of any track on the calendar. Cookie pits, as we saw, as we knew he would, rather, and then he changes his wing. Oh, he must have had a 5-second penalty then as well, so oh, double whammy. So 2-second gap almost between the top 2. Veni still trying to put the pressure on Foxy Red. This battle could go on all race. Tranquility, along with Foxy Red and Veni, all finished in the podium in the first 2 races, but Tranquillity is going to have a real job on his hands to repeat that result today. Disastrous turn 1. He sort of went wide at turn 1, but then the camera didn't switch in time, so I didn't see the rest of the incident. But then he ended up on the grass and fell well out of the top 10, but several incidents have promoted him back into the points. Yellow's in sector 1. Not sure who that is. Oh, Cookie's gone off again. Oh dear. So Cookie's gone off again. He's not having a fun time out there. So Veni closing in. So a lot of the drivers who started outside the top 10 have just had absolute monster starts. They've gained so many places. Tranquillity will be closing in on Mike and Craig soon. Let's go back to Veni, because Veni is closer still. They'll be on the super soft tyres for a while before they pit. But this should be a simple one stop for all of them, unless you get wing damage like some of the other drivers. TamworthFox, oh, a 3-second time penalty for Tamworth, so if it ends like this, then Foxy Red will win the race. So that's not good news for Tamworth. So at the moment, Notorious on the mediums, as is Apollo, who's pitted, and Cookie as well. So 5 drivers have made a pit stop. And then 6th to 8th is a group of cars on the soft tyres. And hey Beast, yeah, not too bad, my friend. Thanks for popping in. Don't get the audience of the PS4 F1 races, but it's still good fun to commentate on this. And Veni closer than he's ever been. Might have to go for a move from the chicane, because I don't think he's going to have the straight line speed on the straights. Hasn't proved so far. And Foxy really struggling with the chicane. He's gone deep again. Will that allow Veni to get alongside him? He had that one chance on the end of lap 1. Oh, and very defensive Foxy goes. Veni switches to the other side, and they're going side by side in turn 1. Who's going to go down on the brakes? Oh no. Veni has to back off. Look how close these two are. This is a fantastic little scrap. I do want to have a look at Tactics, because he's under pressure from a group of cars now. A bit of a train forming behind him. I'm just going to stick with Veni for a few more moments to see if anything happens with the Degners. Oh, Veni getting caught in the dirty air a little bit. So let's go back to Tactics. He's got Craig, Mike and Tranquillity in a sort of a mini train, and I've just seen Rossi overtake Apollo on the timing screen, so he moves up to 13th. And Nicky is close onto the back of the Haas driver Notorious IP. He's going to be really struggling on those medium tyres for now, but they'll come back to him later. I think we might see Nicky overtaking Notorious quickly, and now Veni gets really close in sector 3 and sector 2 up towards 130R. I think he's going to have to try and shape up move for the chicane if he can, because the straight line speed hasn't been there, so we get this fantastic helicopter shot. Veni runs wide again. As soon as he gets in that dirty air, the car twitching about. Yes, there was some contact Beast in the opening lap. Several cars going off, Tranquillity in particular falling from the 3rd row all the way out the points, but a few more incidents promoting him back up. Veni again. Oh, this battle could go on for the rest of the race at this rate. A bit of lag on Foxy. Let's go further down the order. Let's see what Nicky's up to, because Nicky's right on the back of Notorious, with much superior tyres. Looks like Apollo and Rossi having a nice little scrap. Wow. At least I thought so. They had a change of position. What about Tranquillity? Tranquillity sort of stuck now behind Mike, because Mike gets DRS off Craig. So Tactics kind of a cork in the bottle here for this particular group of cars. And there's a massive 10 seconds back to Notorious. And now Nicky, we'll see if have a look. look how close Veni is again. He gets so close through 130R but just can't get past. But Foxy really struggles in this chicane, keeps going deep. But sort of slams the door in Veni's face. Veni, straight line speed doesn't seem to be there. It's getting closer, but it's just not enough runway. It is a problem with this track sometimes. If you have a similar wing setup, you're not going to get past. Let's go back to Tactics, who's dropped Craig a little bit. So Craig, now out of DRS range of Tactics, could now be under attack from behind. What about Notorious? Oh, now we're going to see an overtake here, because Nicky's finally shaping up a move to get into the points, to get past Notorious. Oh, goes late on the brakes, should get it done, has much better tyres at this stage. And yes, so Nicky up into the points. Job done. And those are fresh. I think Nicky was one of the people caught up in the incident at the start, so hasn't been busy yet. So we've only had 5 cars stop, and they were all caught up in lap 1. Well, earlier incidents. We saw Cookie go off the track a few laps later. So, Delange is sort of in a lonely 4th position, and Sheepy up to 5th. So he's having a marvellous first stint. 9 positions gained from the start, so if he was to finish in 5th, I think he'd be absolutely delighted with that, but there's a long way to go. We're only on lap 9, 1/3 distance. Then he pits then, from 3rd position. He couldn't pass him on track, but can he get past with the undercut? But no, he's got a wing change. We did see him hit the back of Foxy Red, but I didn't think he had damage, but clearly he did. That's a wing change for Veni, and he's going to fall right back behind Tranquillity's group. But can he get out in front of Nicky? That could be important. Fox going so slowly, but I think he should get out in front of Nicky. It's going to be so important that he does. No. Oh, he's going to get behind Notorious as well. Oh dear, so Veni right in the traffic with that wing change, so that's going to compromise this race. So Delange promoted up to 3rd for now. So Veni will have mediums to the end of the race. I don't think Veni will have too much trouble getting past Notorious, given their pace difference. Oh, he's hit the back again, and off goes Notorious. Oh, has Veni damaged his wing again? And Notorious down to 11th again. Oh, and on the gravel, he's going to have to just slow down, because he will spin that car up and go off the track. It's one of those tracks you don't want to get gravel on your tyres, so Veni will give chase to Nicky next. So, meanwhile, Rossi gets a 3-second time penalty for what it's worth. I wonder if Foxy will respond. No, Foxy carries on, so Tamworth has only a 4-second gap now to Foxy Red, so he's in real command of this race, especially with Veni now one of the main threats that would have been to his race, having that wing change. I'm surprised though, Tranquility unable to get past Mike on the straight, but Mike unable to do anything about Craig either, so it's a bit of a stalemate. Tactics doing a good job in 5th position at the moment. So the closest battle on track is between Speed Queen and Notorious, who's slowly falling down the field. Will have really fresh, I assume, going long into the race to get super soft later. Back end of Notorious kicking out a bit. So Sheepy got 3 points last week, but is on for a very good haul of points this week. There'll be 6 points for 4th place if he gets it. Tactics had a non-finish at Spain and 0 points in Russia, so it could be a good race for those who haven't scored many points this season so far to get a decent haul this evening. Tactics run rise, and I think that's going to open them up to a move by Speed Queen into the hairpin, but no. Speed Queen just biding her time. Meanwhile, Veni is caught up already to Nicky. Nicky's on very old 10-lap old super soft tyres now, so and TamworthFox pits from the lead then, but going to stick with this battle for now. Delange pits as well. There should be a comfortable overtake for Veni. Side by side they go into 130R. And job done. So nice work from... So Tamworth then, where is he going to come out? Oh, it's going to be close between Tamworth and Tranquillity, but gets out in front of Tranquillity. That's a crucial moment in his race. And Delange slots in behind Veni, so with Nicky just behind. So Delange is in a good position for maybe 4th place today. So Foxy Red at the moment leads this race on track. Sheepy in 3rd, Tactics in 3rd, Craig in 4th, Tamworth in 5th. So Veni well behind, 9 seconds behind Tranquillity. We got yellows in sector 1. What's happened? And Apollo's off the track. Apollo is retired from the race, lost it in the Center S's. So game over for the other Sauber driver, but the other Sauber of Tamworth is in a good position. And hello to you, Liquid Blocks. Welcome to the stream. It's been an incident-packed Japanese Grand Prix for Invictus Racing League so far, and a retirement as well for Rossi, who's lost it. Oh, where is that? Is that? Yes, just before the Degners, so just around the Dunlop curve. So 2 retirements in quick succession as Foxy Red pits from the lead. The IRL Japanese Grand Prix, round 3 of the championship. And he's gone onto the softs. Interesting. Craig pits from 5th as well. Tranquillity pits as well. So let's see what tyres these guys are going on. So Foxy Red comes out. Where's Foxy Red coming out? He's coming out behind Mike. Well ahead of Veni. So Veni, because of that wing change, unable to use the undercut. So he'll probably catch up to Foxy Red again and then be stuck there again. But different tyres, it could change things up. And now, interestingly, Sheepy's done 12 laps on those super softs. That's pretty good going, more than anyone else. Well, as many as Nicky, actually, to be fair. But Tactics should have the massive tyre advantages at this stage. And look how quickly Tamworth is closing in on these two. But Tamworth can take his time, 2 ahead of him. Both need to pit. Sheepy, I imagine, will be on this lap. And Tactics, he can probably go a bit further. Maybe another 4 laps, 5 maybe, before going on to the super softs. And Sheepy struggles to get the power down from the spoon curve, so I think Tactics is going to look for a move into 130R maybe. As TamworthFox keeps a watching brief, so I'm going to go on board with Tamworth so we get a perfect view of what's going on ahead. To head through the final chicane. And Sheepy peels off into the pits after his impressive first stint. And now, with DRS open, but I don't think it's going to make much difference with Tactics. Fresh medium softs on Tamworth. And Tamworth retakes the lead, and I think Tactics probably knew not much point fighting. They're in a completely different race at this point. Foxy Red is now closed onto Mike. So there's not many runners left. Be interesting to see where Sheepy ends up. So I think Foxy will want to get this move done quickly though, because Veni will catch up quickly if he's caught by Foxy is kept behind Mike for too long. Mike on very old tyres at this stage. Mike doing some decent defending to keep him behind. Oof. And Veni's gained a second on Foxy in 1 sector. So that's how much time Foxy is losing, being stuck behind this Ferrari. And UK-Tranquillity ended up behind Notorious again, so I'm going to switch to them shortly, see if there's an overtake, but not before I see what happens between these two. And here we go, Foxy closing in onto the back of Mike. Surprisingly, similar straight line speeds. So let's have a quick look at Tranquillity for a moment. Yeah, he's closing in. Won't pass there, I don't think. But what about the main straight for Foxy? both on the main straight. This is the battle for third. Mike hasn't pitted yet. 14 lap old soft tyres against the fresh tyres of Foxy Red. Foxy Red goes for a move down the inside. It's brave, it's very brave indeed, and he takes it. Brilliant move from him. And now Notorious is going to be defending 9th position from Tranquillity, but I don't think this is going to be much of a contest. But yeah, Notorious had decent straight line speed and keeps the place. I thought that would be routine for Tranquillity, but no, good stuff. And Tranquillity pissing, not Tranquillity, sorry, Nicky pissing finally, comes out in 12th position. So Tranquillity attempting to get past this Haas. Podium looking highly unlikely at this stage. Lap 14 of the IRL Japanese Grand Prix. 3.5 second gap between the top two. Tactics hasn't pitted yet, neither has Mike, and neither has Notorious. So they're the only 3 cars who haven't pitted at this stage of the race. Will Tranquillity think about move down the inside here? Sheepy into it. Oh, better traction out of the hairpin. So they're going to go side by side heading towards the spoon curve. At least they were for a moment. The Tranquillity has been really held up here. And yellows in sector 1 and sector 2. Not sure what's going on. Cookie might have gone off again, I'm not sure. He's just dropped behind Humberstone. And yeah, Notorious really struggling now. Oh, and he gets it wrong, and not a brake check, but he just spun up the tyres, and Tranquillity's hit the back, but I think he got away without damage. Tranquillity again can't get past. Well, TamworthFox picks up another penalty. And there goes Notorious off the track, and finally Tranquillity gets through. Just forced Notorious into a mistake. But TamworthFox, I tell you what, that's 6 seconds of penalties now. Foxy Red has no penalties. So if it finishes as it is, Foxy Red will take the win. So really TamworthFox is pushing really hard, but does he really need to with that gap? So Tactics has just been passed by Foxy Red. So Foxy Red, if he can just sort of keep in range of TamworthFox. And yellows in sector 3, and yeah, it's another pit stop for Cookie, and he's called it a 3rd retirement of the race. I wonder if Tactics is going to think about a pit stop. He's been out there a long time. Dropped to 3rd now. Nope, carries on. Yellows in sector 1. That's probably Cookie. Yeah, Tamworth doesn't want to get caught up by a lag car like it did in Spain. So the Williams, the AI controlled Williams peels off. Mike pits then from 4th position. Where will he end up? Sheepy will get past him. And what about Notorious pits? Notorious gets a 5-second penalty, so undoes all his good work. That's a shame. Mike comes out then on the super softs. Got another 11 laps to complete on their side. They're in 10th position. So let's see what tyres everybody's on after everyone's made their one and only stop. So softs for the top 3, mediums for Veni, who's 6 point. Oh wait, oh yeah, sorry, Tactics hasn't pitted yet, of course. So yes, I do apologise. 1 car left to make their first and only stop you would suspect of the race. So Deland, Speed Queen, Sheepy, Tranquillity, they're on softs. Craig and Mike on the super softs to the end of the race, and then the rest of the field on super softs. And we've had 3 retirements. It's been a very bad race for Rossi. Had 2 good showings in the opening 2 rounds, but getting that qualifying wrong, you get caught up in midfield incidents, and then your race is sort of run, especially on a track like this. It's really difficult to regain any sort of substantial time loss. So Foxy Red sets the fastest lap of the race. Not sure if he's aware of the penalties that Tamworth has. It's Tactics finally pits then. So where will Tactics end up? He's going to get passed by Speed Queen on track, but he's going to have super softs, so It's turning into a pretty decent race for Tactics, assuming he doesn't fall too many more places. I think it's going to be about 8th place for Tactics. So Mercedes in 7th and 8th. So we've got 3 super soft runners rear gunning the top 10. So can they move further up the order? With 10 laps of this race to go. And a 3-second time penalty for Veni. So your top 10 for now. TamworthFox leads by 5.1 seconds, and then a further 9.5 second gap between Foxy Red in 2nd and Veni in 3rd. Delange in 4th. Place he's pretty much been in most of the race. Speed Queen up to 5th. Sheepy in 6th. Tranquillity in 7th. Tactics in 8th. Craig in 9th and Mike in 10th. And then Nicky, Notorious and Humblestone make up the rest. It's another pit stop for Humblestone. He's probably going to think about doing some fast laps, although he's going to have to get a move on because he's going to get lapped very, very shortly, and he's going to have to make way straight away, and he does. So Humblestone has been lapped. Not a good moment for the McLaren driver, but he was caught up in that incident at turn 1. But he'll just have to back off. So Foxy Red has reduced the gap to 4.8 seconds, so as long as Foxy Red gets no penalties, he's going to win the race at this point. Well, Speed Queen pits, 2nd pit stop. So that will promote some of the order up, including her Toro Rosso teammate Craig. I think Speed Queen will be on the super softs. So Nicky will pass Speed Queen as well. So Speed Queen is going to have to give chase to get back into the points. I'm surprised actually. Oh yes, actually I forgot Speed Queen was caught up in a lap 1 incident and had to make a wing change, so yeah, that makes sense that she's 2 stopping. So at the moment, looking at the gaps, it's not too close, although Tranquillity is closing to Sheepy, so we might see a battle between them two very shortly. Super soft runners, well I think Speed Queen will catch up to Nicky and fight for the final championship point. Mike is catching up to Craig as well. So I think we're going to have a little sort of calm before the storm situation where they settle into their final stints. And then we might see some battles at the end. So Foxy Red and TamworthFox exchanging fastest laps. We're into the 31s now. I wonder if Speed Queen will be able to do a fast lap at this point. So at the moment, Sheepy from well down the order on for a fantastic result in 5th place. Not able to get close to Delange, who himself is on for an excellent result. So Delange scored 4 points in Spain, 2 in Russia. He's on for his best result of the season so far, comfortably ahead of 5th place. So yeah, Tranquillity now within DRS range of Sheepy. So we're going to get a battle between these two momentarily. So Speed Queen, Humblestone, the only two who've made 2 stops. I don't think there's anyone else out on track who will make another stop. I'd be very surprised if they do. I think looking at Veni's race, that moment when he got alongside Foxy Red, I think that was the moment very early on in the race before DRS where he needed to get the move done once he got caught by Veni. Sort of run his race really in terms of fighting for the win. But, you know, another podium for him. That would be still a very good result, especially with the championship leader Tranquillity down in 6th. And I think with the way the points work out, Veni will take the lead of the championship from Tranquillity, although Foxy Red will go equal on points with Veni if it stays like this. Although Foxy Red does indeed win the race and can keep within that 6-second gap, he will take the lead of the championship by having the better results. So Craig pits then. Well, he pits for another set of super softs, so he must have underestimated the tyre wear or made a mistake somewhere. So that promotes Speed Queen into the points. So let's go to the UK-Tranquillity, who has caught up into the back of the Williams of Sheepy. So we've got two battles on track right now. So Craig has ended up 17 seconds behind Speed Queen, so highly doubt he'll be able to get back into the points in 7 laps unless there's some penalties or something. Actually, there's a Haas behind them. Oh, is that the Mercedes of... Yes, that's the Mercedes of Tactics now catching up to this pair. So the Mercedes moving forward. Tactics on the better tyres, so you know, I wonder if we'll see some team orders. I don't think we'll see any team orders in the Mercedes drivers. There's no point because Sheepy is nearly 10 seconds behind to land, so there's nothing really gained from that. Tranquillity gains 3 seconds of time penalties though. Sheepy goes a bit wide out of the chicane. Lap 21 of this race. Can Tranquillity get this move done? His car's not really been set up for the main straight. We've seen him several times unable to get these moves done, but he did force a mistake on Notorious early in the race, so maybe he can do the same to Sheepy. That could be his best chance of getting past the Williams driver, who's had a really strong race. Started in 14th position. So probably a contender for driver of the day. And Notorious picks up penalty, and Speed Queen has moved past Nicky then just before the Degners. We'll go back to the battle for 5th, because now the other Mercedes of Tactics has caught up and he's on the better tyres. I said that there wouldn't be much point doing team orders at this stage, but we could see some anyway. But hopefully we don't see any of that, and we just see a nice freeway scrap for 5th position, which is still good points. It may not be the podium, but it'll still be important to these 3 drivers. And Tranquillity has let Tactics by, so we do get some team orders in the end. So interesting decision by Tranquillity, because he could end up losing the lead in the championship because of that. If it were to stay like this, because there's still enough time to see some unexpected retirements or something like that. Now Foxy Red has dropped over 6 seconds behind TamworthFox. So TamworthFox has 6 seconds of penalties, don't forget that. So at the moment Tamworth is in position to win this race, but now Sheepy sort of saw off Tranquillity, but now he's got another Mercedes, but this time with a much bigger tyre advantage. And this is really the only battle on track at the moment, so we're going to stick with these guys for a number of laps. So your race order: Tamworth, Foxy Red, Lenny, Deland, Sheepy, Tactics, Tranquillity, Mike, Speed Queen and Nicky make up the top 10. Craig has reduced the gap to the points to 14 seconds, but unless Nicky gets a lot of penalties. And now, can Tactics make the move on Sheepy? Both these guys starting outside the top 10, having impressive races. They don't want to ruin it now by having a collision. Sheepy goes defensive. Where is... yeah, Tranquillity's just keeping a watching brief behind. So Tactics now looking to make a move into turn 1. Oh, has a thing about it. Speed Queen setting the fast lap of the race, so good pace from her. Can Sheepy fend off Tactics and complete what would be a fantastic race for him? Even if he ends up in 6th, that'd still be a great effort from outside the top 10. Ah, hello Rick. Haven't seen you in one of these streams for a while. Not just my own, but yeah. Thanks for the compliment. So, tactics. What I want to do is try and shape up a move at Spoon and then up towards 130R just to try and force Sheepy into a mistake of some sort, but to be fair, Sheepy is just keeping it together. That 24 and Tactics goes wide for a second and he could have lost the back end, but he saves it, but that's allowed Sheepy to get a little bit of breathing space for another lap at least. Although he puts the rear tyre on the grass, that's going to help him. You don't want to have poor tyres going into 130R, that's for sure, when you're taking it flat. Pretty much even through the final chicane. DRS then, the wing opens. Can Tactics get closer? He certainly is getting closer, but I think he's going to run out of runway again. I think he's going to... Oh no! Sheepy goes deep, and that's going to allow the Tactics to get a run on him as they go through the S's, and he round the outside he goes with the better tyre grip. And there it is, Tactics up to 5th place. Job done. Fantastic. But Sheepy, yeah, he just went a bit deep into the first corner, and that allowed Tactics to use his superior grip to brake a little bit later and put himself alongside him. So a really well crafted move. So Tranquillity, will he attempt to chase down Sheep again? But oh no, well Tranquillity, he can't worry about that because he's got Mike and Speed Queen out of nowhere. So we are going to get some more battles before the end of the race. A three-way battle for 7th place. Just before I go back to them, I'm just going to see if Sheepy's got any answer. No, Tactics is out of here. So 5th position certainly his, and I think unless Sheepy makes a lot of mistakes, I think Tranquillity is going to have these 2 super soft runners to worry about. Mike again. Tactics, Sheepy outside, and we can't forget to mention Mike as well. He started outside top 10, he's gained 5 places, and he's putting Tranquillity, the championship leader, under pressure. Ferrari versus Mercedes with the Toro Rosso Speed Queen just behind. Tranquillity gets a better run out of the final chicane, so don't think Mike's going to get an opportunity on this occasion. Lap 25, free to go then. TamworthFox in position to win this race. 6.8 seconds ahead now, so unless Tamworth makes another mistake with another penalty, I think he'll win the race even with those penalties. So not really going to cover the top 3 until the end of the race because, well, frankly, there's a big gap between them, and Mike has not done a good job in the S's, and that's allowed Speed Queen to close right onto the back of the gearbox of this Ferrari. So, Speed Queen, a very experienced driver, just like Mike ahead. So what is Speed Queen going to do? Maybe some sort of lunge at the hairpin. She's running out of laps to get a move done. But Sheepy is falling back into the clutches, possibly, of this group as well. Tranquillity's got the gap down to a second between the Williams. Yeah, so I think, although Craig has a big tyre advantage over Nicky, he never really had much chance after making the extra pit stop of making up the time, so it's going to be no points for Craig this week. Unless there's some sort of miracle, but he did score in Spain and Russia, so I think he'll probably be happier in a place like Italy next time out in this particular league. So then, penultimate lap of this race. TamworthFox still leads, Foxy Red second, Veni third, Delange, we haven't seen much of him, but he's been in a very solid fall for most of the race. So Tranquillity goes through turn 1, then into the S's. Mike, look, Speed Queen is even closer now. Mike not really doing a good job on these S's the last couple of laps, and oh, I thought Speed Queen was going to take the Eddie Irvine line around there. Anyone who saw the 1997 Japanese Grand Prix will know what I'm talking about. So now, Mike was thinking about getting past Tranquillity, but now he's going to have to defend from Speed Queen, who's certainly living up to her name at the moment. Because by the looks of it, she has a lot more pace than Mike, even though they're on the same set of tyres. Japan is one of the trickier tracks to overtake on. There's not many opportunities, and most of the time people will set up in a similar way. So it often comes down to individual mistakes. But I think Speed Queen got a slightly better exit, so we get this great camera view as they run up the hill to 130R for North's time as TamworthFox begins the final lap of this race. So then, oh, and it's another penalty for TamworthFox on the final lap. Oh, as he gifted it back to Foxy Reds. Oh, I can't believe it. Oh, I don't believe that. So, Foxy Red just has to keep it together, and I think he may have just snatched the race victory right at the death. And this could be a real lesson for what happens when you just race clean. Because I don't think Foxy Red got any penalties in the race. I could be wrong. There has been quite a few penalties, so I might have missed one if it popped up at the same time. I don't tend to like to check penalties in the race because that just interrupts watching the action. And oh, Tactic gets a 3-second penalty, but look how close Speed Queen is. I need to switch to TamworthFox, who rounds the final corner, and that was a brilliant segue, wasn't it? So TamworthFox heads to the line to take the Japanese Grand Prix victory on track. But where is Foxy Red going to finish? Foxy Red crosses the line and wins the Japanese Grand Prix in IRL because of penalties. Brilliant display from Foxy Red. He's been on all 3 places of the podium now. Veni crosses the line in 3rd. So let's go back to the battle between Speed Queen and Mike as they run up the hill. Although I'm going to give Delange, to be fair to him, a little bit of airtime. He will finish in 4th. Tactic's got a 3-second penalty, so Sheepy may finish in 5th still. For a net again to this race. So then let's get them over the line. Tactics finishes 5th. Sheepy will cross the line in a brilliant 5th. Tactics, oh, Tranquillity has fallen down to 10th place. Tranquillity has fallen down to 10th place because of penalties. Well, that's incredible. So Foxy Red takes the lead of the championship. Well. Torres will be our final finisher. Humberstone a lap down, of course, so he's already finished. But well, Tranquillity must have had a ton of penalties to finish that far down. But 0-0 for Tranquillity, leading the championship going to this round, but he won't be after this race. But luckily for him, there's plenty of races to come. Another 9 rounds of the championship to go. Well, it had its sort of highs and lows this race and quiet moments, but when we had the action, it was good. But there he is then, on the top step for the first time this season. Foxy Red takes the Japanese victory. TamworthFox, well, if he hadn't got that final penalty on the final lap, he would have been on that top step. Veni, ever consistent, on the podium again. But it's Foxy Red for McLaren who takes the lead of the IRL Championship with a great display here today at Suzuka. So your final result then. Foxy Red takes the victory. And as you look, clean race and 9 seconds of penalty to Tamworth. Unbelievable. Veni in 3rd position. Delange in 4th. Great result for Delange. Started in 4th, finished 4th. Consistent. Sheepy in 5th. Probably my driver of the day in 14th. Great job from him. Tactics, I think he drove well as well. Mike in 7th. Speed Queen in 8th. Nicky in 9th. And UK-Tranquillity by the narrowest margins dropped down to 10th. Craig, Notorious and Humberstone the only other finishers. So that was a marvellous race in the end, but big congratulations to the top 3, and thank you all to Beast. Glad you enjoyed it. And well, I might be on the next stream, we shall see, but it is Italy for this particular league next week. So thanks for watching and see you next time.